Hi, I'm Angie.
And I'm Jamie.
Taking care of our mental health is the key to happiness.
But even the best therapists sometimes lose their keys.
Join us for Therapeutic Happy Hour as we address the absurdities of life's daily expectations as best friends, mothers, and yes, even therapists.
Welcome to The Shrink Show. We've been friends for apparently, we just did it, math.
No, but it was before then, right? Or
Oh, we met in
that was
07.
really
Yeah.
that was really our connection.
We're therapists, not mathematicians.
No.
15 years ago.
15
we met.
years. Yes. And we met in undergrad as, well, learning to become the most amazing social workers. Nailed it.
Yes.
Hashtag nailed it. And we had to do a presentation, and it was a service learning, right? Because we had to get the information from a local school.
Yeah, there was a local magnet school, and they wanted us to do research to find out. I remember.
I don't know how you remember. I don't.
I remember everything, but it was to do research to find out if the magnet school was working, because it had only been in place for like 2 years, and though we each were divided into groups, and our specific topic. I love that you're like, what the fuck was I talking about?
I'm so excited to learn what our topic was.
Our topic was about if the magnet programming was working for the basis of bringing kids into the school, like bringing in the more diverse population, because that was the purpose of magnet schools, right? And when we did our research and when we compiled all of our stats, our conclusion was there needs to be more research because it's only... because it was just too young to actually have significant data. So we were like, how do we make a 30-minute presentation because we were delivering it to the school itself so they could take the data and say, okay, this is what we do. And we were like, our conclusion is there is no data because you need more time. So keep up the good work.
Fight the good fight.
And do it. And then we were like, how do we make this into a presentation? We're like, we have all the stats to show you it's still inconclusive. I love that you have no idea what the presentation was, but you could still do the Spartan cheer.
Because I remember the fun things in my life. It's probably my response to trauma. If it's serious or boring or has any, it just goes straight. It goes straight out my brain.
I just remember
need it.
everything because of my need for perfectionism, and I can just rattle off anything and everything verbatim.
Is this why we're friends?
Yes.
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 So we connected because our professor, many professors, they like by the book, they like the PowerPoints, they like organization, present it the way we have been taught, fit within that box of normal. So
yes.
See, making previous references.
Wow.
Yeah. And fit within that box. And this professor, I don't even know if he knew the box existed, truth be told. He was just like, do whatever you want. Present it in a fun way. Do a puppet show.
Yeah.
Do an interpretive dance. I don't know why those are the two things I've always remembered.
He literally wrote them in the syllabus. He goes, these are your options.
Yeah.
He said PowerPoint, but then he also was like, a finger puppet show.
An interpretive dance.
Music. And obviously that stuck out to you because you were like, he said we could do this.
Yes, we can have fun.
Yeah, but we were like randomly assigned, and I secretly had like a best friend crush on you the whole we had already spent one semester together, and this was like the second semester in our school of social work, and we were into the same group, and I'm like, yes,
nailed it.
And I'm like, I've never talked to her yet, but I know we were gonna be best friends.
Oh, is that because you're psychic?
Yes, because I know everything. Wayo. Oh my gosh.
And lo and behold, 15 years later,
here we are.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, so then we were divided into our groups.
Yes, sorry, I just, for those of you
Big
listening on the podcast.
Big gulp.
Gulp of gin and crunched an ice cube. All right. Divided into groups. We then sat down to go over all the data and coordinate it into a presentation.
Also, a side note, we were in a group of 4. There were 2 other participants.
Right. A female
And a male.
and a male. Are we allowed to say the real names? Do we need to make up names?
Betty and John.
Betty and John. That's perfect. All right, so Betty, type A. Very type A personality.
I mean, and so am I, so get it, girl.
Right. By the books, wasn't as confident in herself at that time, which none of us
I don't
were.
think any of us were, though.
And I still don't know if I fully am, but we'll get there. She wanted to do a PowerPoint, and we kept saying,
We're just like, we have no data, remember? How do we make this 30 minutes long?
Right.
We perhaps do a 5-minute song every 4 minutes.
right.
Like, is that what we do?
And John was just sitting there like, do whatever.
Well, and then they both had to go to work.
With the George Bush thumbs up.
Yes, because that's who was in office at the time.
Do whatever.
Yeah. And so we were just locked in a library study room.
Oh, well, they made the fatal error of saying, we have to go ahead and do whatever you want. They said these words to us.
And we took it.
To the next level?
We wrote it down, signed it in blood, and went for it. And then we were like, this presentation is so boring and sucks. So then we proceeded to do what any normal college student did and said, do you like SNL videos? So that was when YouTube was like new and young.
Right.
Like, before it was what it is today, mind you.
Yes, and I mean, I think I just had gotten a cell phone.
Yeah, it was, all so new. And so we started YouTubing our favorite SNL videos, like Wayne's World.
Which, is that actually SNL?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it started off. It started off as SNL. It was one of the few. Wow, gonna have to pause for a minute and go into how SNL came out with beauties of Wayne's World, Superstar.
Yes.
Yes. There's a lot of just terribly great movies that started from SNL.
That's a good point, actually. A lot of probably Adam Sandler's characters, maybe?
But let's just focus on the ones that we looked up.
Yes.
Because we just started looking up our favorite ones, and it was all that generation of
Spartan
cast.
Cheerleaders.
Yeah, Spartan Cheerleaders. Celebrity Jeopardy.
Celebrity Jeopardy, the one with Sean Connery, the rapist.
For 500.
The rapist for 1,000, Alex.
That's therapists.
We loved it because it's a pun. It's a pun.
That's a good word, but
It's a pun on our career field.
and then we used it in the presentation. We were like, I'd like the rapist for 500.
Okay, so
Oh, sorry, I got ahead.
Betty was Alex Trebek, which we thought was kind of funny, but we also didn't want to hurt her feelings. But it was because she was very rigid and wanted to do the PowerPoint. So A, we didn't want to make her uncomfortable acting out. B,
acting as a character. Yeah. Again, George Bush was very relevant, frequent, like, parodied character at that time.
yes.
He was in office. So, like,
And you were Sean Connery.
you were Sean Connery. I was Britney Spears.
You were Britney Spears. I was Sean
Because
Connery.
Britney Spears was also relevant.
Yes.
Yeah, so we had Celebrity Jeopardy.
Which was a great way to get all of that information out.
Because we did have to bring out the statistics and the actual presentation itself.
And so the
I
question
guess it was a college course for credit and stuff. We decided we were smart.
It was a
Literally
thing.
just push the easy button.
That was easy.
And then you got your points.
Yes.
That obviously wasn't a good stat that we shared, but it was just a time
Comedic.
filler. We needed a lot of time fillers.
And
We're like, we don't have a lot of information.
comedic relief.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So we
Did
really
you know
yeah.
the magnet schools?
Yeah, we defined magnet schools. We talked about like their football team, I think.
And then third, so we had to come up with, because there was so much information that we simply could not provide
In a skit.
In a skit.
So we made up an SNL skit.
We did, but it was based on
It was good.
Dot's Poetry Corner. Little Miss Muffet sat on her tuffet, and what a big tuffet she had. If you're feeling insecure, just sit next to her, and then you won't feel quite so bad. For whatever reason,
That was very life-changing.
But Dot's Poetry Corner. So
Good in your body.
we did a Dot's Poetry Corner, but it was George Bush reading
to a bunch of kids.
to children. Yes.
It ended up being funny because he ended up improving
He did
a bunch
improv.
of like insults to the children that he was reading the book to, and none of us
Sit
were
down,
ready
Mary.
for it. So we were laughing as the audience was laughing.
And I'm pretty sure at one point I thought we may have gone too far off the rails. We
But
may have failed this
we're already
assignment.
in it.
Hashtag sorry, Betty.
So then that was the next one.
And then the final
finale was the Spartan cheerleading.
Oh, but it was the Benton Bunnies because the school we were reviewing.
Researching. Their mascot's the bunny.
The bunnies!
Which is the best.
Who
It was
has?
apparently like a prank from a senior class.
I love it
They
so
like
much.
got to vote and they wanted.
But the school was also Benton High School,
Yeah.
which makes it even better that it was
Bunnies is the best.
Benton Bunnies.
Yes.
And was it you that said the warm hugs or was it Mike?
Yeah.
John. God. It's okay. Mike is just as generic, I suppose.
Oh my god.
Sorry, Mike. John.
It was.
John Michael.
No, mine was give big hugs because I said don't do drugs.
But did we provide any facts?
I don't even remember. I literally only know my part of the cheer. Because my part of the cheer was, my name is Jamie. I give big hugs. You're not my friend if you do drugs. I think there probably was more facts, but that's really all I
And Betty
remember.
didn't participate in the cheerleaders. It was just the
I know,
three of
but-
us.
Yeah, I think it was just the three. We needed someone to hold the cue cards.
Ugh.
Because we didn't.
Hashtag sorry,
I
Betty.
didn't memorize the lines, but I actually now think I probably said a fact or two about the school
'Cause we
that
kept
I
going.
obviously blacked out.
So
We found out Mike had no rhythm because the clapping wasn't atrocious.
Oh my God, John was awful. Why can't we say his name? Oh my
I
God.
don't think we should have done fake names.
This was not prepared. Okay, no, he certainly did not have the rhythms, which bothered me so much because
Because you were a singer.
yes, and I have the rhythm to like a
He was
fault.
on my deaf side, so I just shouted louder.
But my favorite part of all of this is the smile on our professor's face the entire time. And then we were the only group to go that day. Yes, because there were supposed to be two groups going that day, but for some reason we were the only ones. And the next group did like a news story, news anchor, where they did sports and weather and incorporated their information in that. And I remember, I think it was Tess. Oh, God, I am terrible at this. But
You know what? We're just gonna have a reunion of our class because there really was only like 12 of us, so I think it's.
there was.
Sorry, guys, we love all of you because you clearly were impressionable because we remember their names.
Yes. Are you still cheerleading that?
Yes.
No, but she had said, like, we were like, shit, we need to reconvene.
Yeah, the other groups were like, shit, we gotta be funny now. Because there were definitely groups who went next and they're like, PowerPoint.
Mm.
Which, actually, I have a question. Like, do younger generations know what PowerPoint is? Do they do that anymore?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because I was worried that we would lose people. Does that make us old?
Do they still call it PowerPoints, right? Or slides. Slides. They
Is
call
that
it
what they
slides.
call it?
Google Slides or Prezi. I know Prezi is one that you can like do all this fancy stuff and zoom in. And for a hot minute, it was popular. I feel like it's not used quite as much, although I
Just
like
making sure
it.
we reach the audience.
I like Prezi's. No, I'm not being
No.
sponsored by Prezi, but I like
yet.
Prezi because it allows me to do some wild and crazy things, whereas the format of slides and PowerPoint, I like.
That's all I know.
I like it in some aspects, but you can't like zoom in on somebody's eyeball to show a video of what they see, which is kind of what you can do with Prezi. I know, fascinating.
It's like that Sesame Street segue when they're like, they want to see you look inside the crayon and it takes them to the crayon factory.
Oh my gosh, yes. What are the things you guys remember from Sesame Street? Because do you know the things that stand out in my head? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And it's like the whole pinball thing. I don't know if they played that so many times, but it's like the pinball machine and the balls going all over, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Do you know?
The biggest thing, I also remember the song, I don't think anyone remembers it, but they go, I'm an art park, and it's an art park, walking around. So when I take my kids to the zoo, I go, look kids, it's an art park, doo-doo-doo. I don't think,
I can't even breathe in my face. Sorry.
Does anyone know that? Anyone?
I've never heard that one. I haven't.
It was either that or Mr. Rogers, because that was really all I watched as a child. Oh my god, now I cried.
Also, not hashtag, timeout. Mr. Rogers' puppet was kind of
The
scary.
scariest thing as a grown-up.
Like,
But I
really.
loved that show.
I did too. And he,
Because he was the best.
oh,
my
him
gosh, the
and
original.
Bob Ross.
Oh yeah.
Loved Bob Ross. And every time he would start painting, I would think, no way in hell that's gonna look like a cloud. You're putting what? Crimson behind that cloud? That shit's not gonna work. And then all of a sudden, I'm like,
blown away by that magnificent cloud.
look at that
That's the happiest fucking cloud.
And can I tell you, to this day, I will I'll drive my kids to work in the morning, and I will see a goddamn crimson cloud, and I will think,
Have a moment of silence for Bob Ross.
Bob Ross fucking nailed it.
Bob Ross, there you are.
He nailed it.
Well done, my
We just have to see, it's okay to make mistakes, because guess what?
Okay.
We'll just turn that into a happy tree.
Yes.
Just turn it into a happy tree. And then other days you can be like, I don't give a sip. Or a ship. Okay, I guess on podcasts they don't realize.
You're taking
My
a
mug.
drink now.
I'm taking a drink
It's
and
a
my mug
narrate.
says I don't give a sip.
That was good. That was good. You really saved that. Really. So yeah. So I think we like to think that not only did we set the bar for our class, but is the iRig still on?
Shit.
Are we talking to ourselves?
No. Oh no. We might be.
Oh my god.
Does it need to be charged?
Is it not plugged in? Like, is it not plugged into a power source?
Should we do an entire episode where we just ask questions like in whose line is it anyway?
Like, are you gonna get up to check in or am I? We should.
Do we need to end the episode right
Does one of us need to check and see if the iRig is working?
now?
Son of a dick.
Wow, did you know that Benson did after the Expo, Tree Street, and the Magnet Fair all this year?
Oh, wow! And that's just one thing Benson does to recruit. So everyone listen for Hamilton!
Good thing when they were from four target schools.
We have four? Yeah! We try to recruit not only Lewis and Clark, but also Morton, Benson, and Monroe Middle Schools. Woo!
Come on!
Get the players! Get the players! Get the players! Get the players!
Oh, they need us now more than
Oh
ever.
God, yeah. Let's do the perfect cheer. The perfect cheer. Roll call. Cha cha boogie, cha 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 boogie. Roll call. My name is Jamie. I have team spirit. I mail out postcards for kids to hear it. I teach the family where it's flat. So check it out. So check her out. Cha cha boogie, cha 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 boogie. Roll call.
My name is Mike. I give big hugs. Pathway Recruiting. We share the love. Prairie Hill and Morton Middle. We host a jazz night without a bill, so check me out.
Cha 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 boogie. Roll call. My name is Andy. I ring my bell. For Benson Hotel. The magnet program.
If you think we're cool,
Or even if you don't,
please like or subscribe so you'll stay up to date on all things The Shrink Show.
feel free to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook at The Shrink Show.
You can also visit our website at theshrinkshowpodcast.com to check out some of our merch, submit your episode topic requests, tell us a funny story, or even donate money or gin to the cause.
Thank you for choosing to spend a portion of your life with us. And remember, don't take yourself too seriously. Life is all a giant shrink show.
A Huda Media Production.
Side effects of listening to this podcast may include side aches or snorting from laughter, impromptu jazz hands, nodding in agreement even though you might be listening alone, an occasional "you said it, girl," and mild cases of existential dread. This podcast is strictly for entertainment and informative purposes only and is not intended or implied to diagnose, treat, or otherwise substitute for professional mental health, medical, legal, or other advice. Thank you.